In today's video, we're going to be looking at Manic Panic in the color Electric Amethyst. So I have my swatches labeled 1 through 12, but that is not synonymous with hair levels. I do pictures and close-ups near the end of the video, so the numbers just help us keep track of each swatch. 1 is a green. I tend to get a lot of requests when I'm doing pinks and purple dyes to do a green swatch, so that's that. 2 is gray. 3 is in natural red. 4 is black. And then from 4 to 11, we have a range that goes to a platinum blonde. And then 12 is more of like a toned version of number 11. These are human hair swatches, but the only one that is virgin hair is the number 4 black swatch. The rest have been chemically dyed or bleached at some point in their existence. So to start, I'll be putting the dye directly from the container onto the tops of each swatch. And then some people like to dilute their dyes, so I'll do a diluted version at the bottom of each swatch. Please keep in mind everyone's hair is different, which means everyone's hair will take dye differently. Also, keep in mind that different devices and screens can make the colors look different, especially undertones. So please just use my video as a reference for how it could possibly turn out for you. For the diluted section, we're going to be doing a 2-to-1 ratio, so that is 2 parts of diluter and 1 part dye. If you're wondering what diluter is, simple answer is that it lightens the color of the dye. And if you're wondering what I just use a plain white conditioner for diluting. Alright, I'm going to let these sit for about 3 hours. I will then rinse them out, and when they're dry, I will meet you back here. So one thing I noticed about this dye was that when I first applied it, it kind of looked like it was sitting on top of the hair, but as it sat, it looked like it was absorbing more and more. And while I don't have any personal experience with this color, just off of that, I would say this might be a color that you want to let sit on your hair for a while to get the best results. So number 1 was the green. The direct dye portion still looks purple, but the cool tones really come out and it almost looks like a dark gray with a purple undertone. And then the ends here, there's still a green hue to it, even though it's a lot less green than it was before. The number 2 took the purple really well, but I would say the cool undertone in the hair for both number 2 and 12 make the purple look a little bit darker. I would say on the number 3 and kind of the same all the way up to number 8, The top almost looks like a very cool toned brown. In some lighting, you can see the purple. From where I'm sitting right now, it actually just looks like a dark brown. Like I said, when I first applied the dye, it did look like it was sitting on the hair a little bit, which means it's not a highly pigmented color. So even though it did dye 9 and 10, I would recommend honestly your hair being like a number 11, the platinum blonde, at least if your hair is virgin hair. That being said, you could probably tell I think the number 11 looks the best on both the direct dye and the diluted section. It has like this nice brightness to it on both top and bottom that looks really smooth and intentional looking. I will say though, on the number 8 swatch, it almost looks like the purple toned, the diluted section, because you can kind of see here, hopefully on camera anyways, you can kind of see here it's a lot more warm looking versus the bottom half. So this could possibly be a good diluter. So for comparisons, I wanted to start with a mix that I did previously, and that is a mix between Arctic Fox's Purple Rain and their Periwinkle. This is comparable to number 12. This is comparable to number 11. And this is comparable to number 10. So if you haven't seen my videos before, I used to do 3 different parts on each swatch. So I have 3 parts here. It looks to me like the top half has the most Purple Rain, and then the bottom half has a lot less Purple Rain. I thought this comparison might be a little bit helpful if you liked the mix, but you didn't want to buy 2 dyes to get the mix. Now, I wouldn't say it's an exact dupe, but I do think that the center piece here is very similar to the diluted section here. The top part with more Purple Rain is a more warm toned purple, and that really does come through on the top, so it doesn't really match the top of Electric Amethyst. And I actually feel like the bottom looks a little bit too cool toned as well, so the centerpiece here is the closest for the mixture. And it's not really an exact dupe either, but it is the closest so far to what I've done. I also thought it would be pretty beneficial to see different Manic Panic purples next to each other, so I wanted to look at Manic Panic's Ultraviolet as well. So this is comparable to number 12, number 11, and number 10. So at the time, I thought the Ultraviolet was pretty cool toned, but now I can see next to the Electric Amethyst that the Amethyst is definitely much more cool toned. It does seem to run a little bit darker as well. Now, I'm not a professional, so don't totally take my advice, but I'm thinking that if you're someone who has a slight bit of like oranges and yellows in your hair and you're looking for a purple to tone it, the Electric Amethyst might be a really good option for you, but try and see if anybody else has done that with their hair first before just taking my advice. And then I feel like the Ultraviolet might be better if you have mostly just yellow tones in your hair and you're looking for a toner. But again, do your research before taking my advice. I've never actually used either of these to tone my hair, so I don't know. So after seeing just how cool toned this color is, I did quickly just want to throw in one more comparison, and that's going to be Good Dye Young in the color People Eater. This is comparable to number 12, number 11, and number 10. So People Eater to me looks very blue, but in some lightings it does hold the purple. It is supposed to be a very cool toned purple, and of course the way that your hair takes colors can affect how it looks. But in case you were wondering, even though Electric Amethyst is also a very cool toned purple, it doesn't lean quite as blue as the People Eater. I think that's especially apparent on the diluted section for People Eater, but in case maybe you were just looking for cool toned purples or indigos or something along that line, I did just want to throw this in really quickly. I'd like to get into the before and after clips now. Those clips, as well as anything you'll see at the end of the video, is all going to be done in natural lighting, and I'm sure, and you might know, but recreating the exact same environment with natural lighting can be a little difficult, so if anything looks slightly off between the before and afters, that is probably why. I hope this video helped. If you have a request, I do have a link below to a Google form you can fill out. Just remember, I only do dyes that do not test on animals. Thank you so much to my patrons, and thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.